Words like a kiss can comfort and soothe. Words like a fist can batter and bruise.
We're coming here because we need your help with a project. The project that we're doing will include writing a narrative and then creating artwork. I'm going to ask you to write a story, your story, about an experience with someone else and how it turned out, and if it got you mad, and how it made you feel, and what you did about it. You talk about your feelings at that moment, like, you really got me mad, I swung back and hit him, whatever it is. You talk about it, and then how it made you feel. And then create a point or a reason for writing your story so that we could use it to help other people understand the story. Now let me explain something about writing that should make everybody feel a little more comfortable. Every writer, whether they write for a newspaper or they write a best-selling book for the New York Times, has editors. It's the editor's job to make the writer look good. And then based on that, we'll show you the next step on how to draw pictures. But in the end, everybody can rest assured we're going to make you look good as writers and artists. So nobody has to be afraid. Now, are there any artists in the class? Would you raise your hands? Okay. Now, everybody else who didn't raise their hand, just listen really careful to what I'm about to say. I asked if you're an artist and you didn't raise your hand. If you come to all of our workshops, I'm going to ask the same question at the end of the last workshop, and I guarantee, everybody in the class is going to raise their hand, because we're going to show you how to be artists.
What's it gonna be? Kindness or cruelty? You hold the sea.
It looks like that she was being bullied by somebody while she was laying down or something. That's what it looked like. Somebody.
What else do you see?
I see people laying down. I see like a whole collage of pictures, like different rooms or something. Or it might be the same room because they have the same picture, people in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it tells a story.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you read your story? And I'll hold up the picture so you could see how the picture and the story work together.
My story. I've been in a conflict with my best friend. This is how it started. My phone was dying, so I used her phone to text another friend of mine. When my best friend wanted her phone back, I had no problem giving it back to her. After all, it was her phone, but the way she approached me wasn't inappropriate, and I responded in an aggressive tone. Minutes went by with us arguing, and then she said something that really hit me in my gut and got my blood boiling. I retaliated in a physical way that caused her to black out. I was highly upset that I thrust my fist at her, and I started to panic because she was not moving. I thought I killed her. I didn't know anything about blackouts except what I had seen on TV and videos. When my friend came back from wherever she went when she blacked out, I apologized and we eradicated the conflict that we had going on.
How does this relate to people being uncivil and rude to each other? Is this a classic case of rudeness? Yes. And do you think it was handled in the right way?
Yes. No. Yes. Yes.
Well, okay, wait. Who said no? I said no. Okay. Tell me what was wrong with that. Why wasn't it handled the right way?
Because you used violence.
Okay, because you used violence. Here, what about you? How would you approach it if you were in that situation?
I would talk to the person in a different tone.
Is that the way most of the people would handle it? Would you talk to the person, or would you first get physical and show them who's in charge?
I don't get physical.
Who said they'd get physical?
Me.
Is that the best way to handle situations, by getting physical, or is that like the last resort?
No, it's like the last resort.
So what's the best way to handle the situation?
Talk it out.
To talk it out. Did everybody understand that? Because that's the difference between being an adult and being able to talk it out, and just being an angry kid who uses fists first without realizing the consequences of it. So that's what this workshop is here to do, to get you to think about the consequences of when you become physical and when you start out being rude. So let me ask you another question. Are you going to continue to use art as a way to express yourself?
Yeah. Like when I feel a certain way, I'll just go drawing to release it, to get it out of me instead of holding in that grudge, and to release it out on a paper and leave it there.
That terrifying day will haunt me for the rest of my life. That day, I was suddenly rudely disrespected. It started like a normal day, going to school and doing my work. Then, in the cafeteria, someone threw a water bottle at me and it hit me in my face. I looked back and saw a group of boys laughing. I was so mad that my anger took over me and I threw the bottle back at the boy who hit me. Then I just ignored him and continued to talk to my friends. Suddenly, the boys came up behind me and slapped me in the face with a piece of pizza. I was upset and could easily have become a hooligan like him, but my parents taught me better than that. So instead, I became the bigger person and just ignored him. Doing that made me feel better.
How does the artwork correspond with the story?
It shows that how afterward, when he hit me in the pizza, how I looked upset, but instead of going behind him and hit him back, I just ignored him.
When Dina and I started the workshop, we asked how many artists were in the class. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and what did I say at that first class? Do you remember what I said? Well, now I'm going to ask the same question. Will all the artists in the class please raise their hand? Okay, is there anybody in the class who doesn't think they're an artist? Okay, now, do you know the definition of an artist?
No, I do think I'm an artist.
Well, an artist is somebody who has a vision or an idea in their head and is able to translate it in a way that other people can see it. I didn't say you would be good artists, but I said you can all be artists because you all were able to translate a vision that we were able to see, and now we want to share that with our audience.
My name is Denise Perry. I'm the freshman foundation instructor here for the 9th graders at Miami Edison Senior High.
And have your students ever had a workshop like this?
No, never.
What you were watching and observing, what did you think of what we did?
I thought it was incredible. Actually, the pieces that they wrote, I was really impressed with the way they described how they felt in the incident and how they handled it, and I thought it was awesome.
Do you think this is something that you could use in your classroom for other subjects?
Definitely for conflict resolution. This would definitely be a good exercise to use when we're dealing with students in conflict and how to resolve them in a nonviolent manner.
Well, you've seen your students under all kinds of circumstances. Mm-hmm. How do you think they did here? Do you think that they had a good time? Do you think
they had a great time. They did. They had a great time. As a matter of fact, those students that were very reluctant to participate because they couldn't really draw, by the end of the workshop, they were quite proud of what they had produced.
Well, that's usually the case, yeah. Because what we try to do is to show them what talent and beauty they have inside.
I know. We see in them what they don't yet see in themselves.
Exactly.
You're so powerful. You're so potent. Love is powerful.
Let me ask you something. Now that you've read that story, what's your reaction to what you just read?
My reaction is that's amazing. A 15-year-old. Well, you know, I had a similar experience. So I talked my way out of a fight when I was about 17 years old. So I can identify with her, and yeah, she took the higher road. I think it's amazing that kids actually do that.
Do you think that the stories that were written here are a reflection of our society in general?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, and definitely with a younger generation. Yes, it is.
And what do you think you and I as adults can do to change this culture and the direction that everybody is going in, where they use their hands first and then they talk later?
To sit down and speak with people one-on-one conversations, just to be patient with the person, to understand what they have to say. For every action, there's a reaction. You need to get that person's action in order to react on it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yes, so.
Tell me, what was your reaction to what you just read?
Well, it was very interesting. The children who participated in this program seemed to be very aware of what they were feeling and honest. Very, very honest. I read a couple of the stories, and they're not sugar-coated in any way, which is great. And to be able to get those emotions out and put them down on paper to then start to think about what they were doing and what they were feeling, it's a great start.
And do you think this might be a reflection of society in general, not just kids, but adults too? Because the kids have to learn this behavior somewhere.
Right, I think you're right. It's not behavior that maybe comes naturally. They probably saw, maybe they saw something in their home or something in their environment that leads them to believe that it's appropriate. But in a couple of stories that I read, I saw that there's hope that at least they recognize that some of the behavior was not appropriate and they want to do something about it.
Well, do you have any clues of your own, because we don't, on how we could change the whole culture from being so angry and ready to fight with each other to becoming sort of kinder and gentler and just get along?
Wow, that's a tough question. I guess, you know, as we all know, it all starts in the home. And if we could just be respectful to each other within our home environment, and we teach our children to carry that through into society, that's a great place to start. Just the tone of civil discourse too would be nice, you know, that we see more gentler tones there, so that when we have differences of opinion, it doesn't turn into name calling or finger pointing. Instead, that it would just be, you know, you have your opinion, we have ours, and let's work together to see how we can resolve that. It seems to be something that is not happening these days, so maybe that would help as well.
Words like a kiss can comfort and soothe. Words like a fist can batter and bruise. What's it gonna be? Kindness or cruelty? You hold the sea.